Are you ready for Witch Hunt 2.0? Well, get ready, because that's what the Democrats are gearing up for. After Mueller's testimony failed to deliver the knockout blow to Trump's presidency that they promised, Nancy Pelosi and her pals are now revealing their new plans to go after Trump.
We are filing an application for the grand jury material underlying the Mueller report. We will continue to seek testimony from key fact witnesses and to investigate the president's misconduct.
And it was clear to me anyway yesterday he did not follow the money, so someone needs to do the investigation into money laundering. We're having a vigorous debate about whether we need to go beyond investigation to impeachment.
Some of your Democratic colleagues believe you're simply trying to run out the clock on impeachment. Are you trying
that's
to run
not
out the
true.
clock?
No, I'm not trying to run out the clock.
And just moments ago, from the Oval Office, President Trump was fired up and sounding off on the Democrats' endless investigations.
I think it's a disgrace what the Democrats are doing. All they want to do is impede. They want to investigate. They want to go fishing. And I watch Bob Mueller, and they have nothing. These people are clowns. The Democrats are clowns. They're being laughed at all over the world. And I watched this morning, I watched Nancy Pelosi trying to get through that with the performance that Robert Mueller put on, where I don't think he ever read the agreement or the document. And the document said no collusion. They don't even talk about that. So there was no crime. They said, well, there was no crime, but he obstructed. How do you obstruct? There's no crime. But actually, it was worse than that because it was a phony crime that they put on. The crime was what they put on.
Clowns, Greg.
Yep.
People are clowns.
They're clowns. Well, what else can you call them? I mean, you look at the media right now. They expected, they were like, let's make a deal. And they expected a shiny Corvette behind door number 1. And when the curtain pulled back, it was an inflatable doll. Nothing there for them. And also, then you know, they're saying, some of the media, they're saying, oh, it's a mixed bag, right? It's a mixed bag. Yeah, it's a mixed bag of dog poop, cat poop, and horse poop. They can't, as you say, Dan, they can't take the L.
Yes.
What this was a great week for were normal people, meaning people not prone to hysterics or emotional vendettas. That you could watch this with a detached, as a detached observer. Okay, this could go one way or the other, but your whole life isn't hanging on it the way it does with Morning Joe, who they're having public nervous breakdowns over this. If it went the other way, we would just get on with our life. We'd go have dinner. We'd feel bad one way or the other because we support the president. We don't want, we don't want their hysteria to be proven true. But now you see the Dems in the media are redoubling their efforts. After this failure, they're redoubling their efforts for impeachment. So imagine if the hearing was good for them, what would they have done? If it's bad for them, this is what they're doing. Imagine if it was good for them. Where would they have gone?
I don't know.
They would have had torches, tar and feather.
That's right. It would have been pitchforks at 1600, Dan. They tried to frame him. They failed. They tried to investigate him. They failed. I mean, what else can they do?
Guys, ladies, have some dignity. Please, isn't this embarrassing?
Yes.
Greg, they're throwing stuff at the wall right now, okay? First, it was collusion, then that was a hoax, then it was the obstruction hoax, now it's money laundering. Next, it'll be felonious mopery in the umpteenth degree, piracy on the open seas.
Piracy.
Jaywalking after midnight, aggravated jaywalking. We talked about, listen, you're never supposed to say it here. We talked about it in the green room. They say it. Don't do that. I'm doing it. I said to Greg, can you take the L? You lost.
Right.
Like, remember after Read My Lips, the speech? Every Republican years later acknowledged, big loss. Shouldn't have said read my lips and raise taxes. The Democrats listen, I'm giving you free political advice, okay? Believe me, I know what it's like. I lost when I ran for office. Take the L. The case is over. Yeah. He's right. You look like a bunch.
I don't think you should have accepted that loss.
I want a recount.
I should. I asked for a recount.
There are hanging chads and dimpled chads and everything else down there. Look, I'll chime in on giving some free political advice as the Dem here at the table this Friday afternoon. I have been saying this till I've been blue in the face. The American people have investigation fatigue, and when the Democrats go down these paths where they will not give up and they are focused more on trying to get at the president than on important policy issues that actually help them win the midterm elections, we set ourselves up to be the greatest adversary for Trump because we're playing into his hand. We're saying, look, we all have Trump derangement syndrome, and he's going to say see, and that distracts from the bigger thing. But there are unfortunately some Democrats that have not gotten the memo. If they don't get it soon, The clock is ticking, and we're going to be in not a great position to take on Trump in just a few months in the general election.
And Diggin, they have so many committees in the House. I mean, 1,000 committees, and this is just one oversight committee or intel committee. And that's all the media is focused on. It's all the Democrats are focused on. They can't walk and chew gum at the same time. They can't do infrastructure, drug prices, health care, asylum. Can't do anything except this.
The problem with the Democrats is they only talk and listen to other people who wear makeup for a living. No offense, Jesse, or anybody.
I only have a little blush.
Only at this table. But one thing, you're talking about regular folks, and that's one thing that the Democrats and people on other networks don't understand is Trump's ability to talk to regular folks in this country. And when he's mad and he's ranting and raving, well, you know what? People at home would be too. I hold a grudge. I would hold a grudge if somebody went after me and tried to destroy me. I would be chafed, chapped, and white-hot mad about it. And followed by all these snot-nosed brats who have hated Trump his whole life and always wanted to take him down. I would be as furious as he is. And you know what? This ferocity has worked for him. The percentage of people who oppose impeachment has continued to go up in the last year. It's almost, what, 2/3 people in this country surveyed. And the percentage in favor of impeachment has gone down. So, again, he's
That's
working.
right. Pelosi is actually trying to slow walk it no matter what she says.
Well, I wonder what the president could have accomplished if he didn't have this entire 2-year investigation in the Russia cloud holding over his head, because he had a poll come out, ABC News, Washington Post, had him at 40%, 47%. That is his all-time high in that poll. That was before the Mueller hearing. The Fox News poll that just came out, Dan, had approval for the economy at decades high.
Yeah.
This is pretty good stuff right now, and now he's going to come into a recess where everybody goes home. I think he's going to look even better.
And this was a heavy anchor around his neck. But what's ironic about this entire thing, too, is it's boomerang on the Democrats, and they have no capacity here for self-reflection. Even, I think it was David Gergen on the other network, nobody watches outside of airports, he said something to the effect of passively watching. I think that's what they call it. He said, listen, you know, we're not really open to the Republicans' arguments here, and they've been studying this case for a long time, and I think that's why we're unprepared. And everybody over there at the airport was shocked. Oh, my gosh, maybe he's right. Like, we have had to withstand these attacks about this hoax forever, so people at this table who've done the homework understand what it's about. And as you look into it, it's all about the Democrats in Russia, not the Republicans.
I think that was the first time the country, outside of Fox News, Greg, maybe actually heard Joseph Mifsud's name mentioned.
Yes.
Fusion GPS named, Glenn Simpson's name, the dossier.
Right.
They'd never heard that, and I don't think it's been covered by these hard news networks.
Well, I mean, it's more about, I guess, British collusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Russian, and I think it's a good question to the media. The credibility of this endeavor is gone. So maybe there's a Pulitzer there to investigate this investigation. Because how did this move forward? How did people not see this coming? Or did they know that Mueller was not engaged in this investigation and were happy that he wasn't engaged because they were doing other things? That would make a great story for maybe, you know, a network.
I think that's the point, because a lot of people said he had no idea what was going on in the investigation, and it was run by Clinton donors and Clinton lawyers. So you have to think to yourself, he's being investigated by his political opponents. This was not the nonpartisan investigation that the American people were told it was.
Well, and again, I think this was the risk that Democrats took when they decided to go down this road and put all their eggs in this basket and call Mueller to testify in front of these committees, because one of two things was going to happen. If he did not explicitly say, yes, I would have charged him with a crime, which he kind of said but didn't say, they are going to lose. And so when it comes out that Mueller wasn't as engaged in this process, when he didn't answer so many of the questions, saying, I'm not going to get into this, I'm not going to get into this, I'm not going to get into this, it really hurt the Democrats for putting all their eggs in this basket, which is why I go back to the point.
You know who would have never called Bob Mueller to testify if he was on the other side? Donald Trump. Because, again, he might have done a little bit of research to figure out that the guy shouldn't have been sitting in front of the public. But, again, these Democrats, they all talk to themselves and they go, yeah, you're doing such a great job.
Yeah,
this is going to be a win.
All right, and now the investigators are going to be investigated, and for the first time, the White House goes on offense with regard to these probes.